I'm meteorologist John Weatherby.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants.
Happy holiday, happy holiday, happy holiday, happy holiday. While the merry bells keep ringing, happy holiday to you. Happy holiday. Put on your yarmulke, it's time for Hanukkah. So much Hanukkah to celebrate.
It's time for Health Futures with Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. Yes, this is Health Futures, not Adam Sandler and your Christmas station. Thank you, James, for the big plug for this big holiday that starts tomorrow. You're listening to Health Futures. My name is Bob Roth. I'm your host, and I'm proud to say that we've been coming at you for 3 years, and I don't think we've ever been on the day before Christmas Eve. And I will share with our listening audience a not known fact that since 1900, this is the 8th time where Hanukkah and Christmas overlap, the beginning of Hanukkah. So the last time was 1978, and this Saturday night we start Christmas Eve, and we also start Hanukkah. And
who needs Wikipedia?
Who needs
got Bob Roth?
That's right. That's
exactly,
right.
Exactly.
So for our listening audience, I've got two individuals in the studio today. I've got Dr. David Bailie to my right. He is the owner of an incredible company called ASICS. It's Arizona Institute for Sports, Knees, and Shoulders. And I've got to my left, I've got Eric Olsen, who is the owner and president and CEO and grand poobah for Fast Turtle Interactive. And you also host a radio show right here on the station.
True. That's true. Yeah, we our show is Digital Pros, everything internet marketing related, website and digital marketing related, and it's on Mondays at noon.
Fantastic. And I've asked both David and Eric to be here on the show today. We're going to talk about a lot of great things, but one of the things that Eric brings to the table is innovations, technology, the digital space, which is moving at a rapid rate. And the other thing that David brings to the table is he's an innovator in the orthopedic world and has embraced a lot of innovations in what he does. And I'm watching this website, David, that is unbelievable. It's so robust, and the thing's moving all around, three-dimensional. I'm looking at a knee. It looks like my knee. And if you don't know about his website, go to ASICS. That's AZISKS.com. But really talking about innovations, and it really crosses both spectrums, both in the medicine field or medical field as well as in the digital space, is innovations relative to predictive analytics. We talked a little bit about artificial intelligence. Eric, I know you're only going to be here for one segment because you got a lot of stuff going on, but, what is going on in the digital space in terms of new innovations that we are seeing here in 16 as we close it, as well as what are we anticipating for 17 and forward?
Well, thanks, Bob, for having me on. But, as you look at all the different things that are going on in technology, really the biggest thing that you need to consider as an end user is active listening. People are always looking. There's so much data that's going on. It's all data mining. When you're saying as a business owner, what do I want to go? How do I want to get my voice out there at my company in front of my potential consumer? We were talking during the break that, hey, we've got Facebook out there. It's going to be a huge company. If you don't own the stock, definitely buy it. That's my suggestion. We're on a financial network.
could have bought it at 17, just so you know.
Hopefully you got in at 20s. Anyways, they're really listening to everything that we're putting out there. So, and it's one of the better companies when I look at an advertiser that I can go in. We all go ahead and put where we're checking in, where we're traveling, what we like, what we don't like. You put in marital status. You typically, when you're traveling, which places are you traveling to? And so now Facebook is all just collecting all of that data, and then now can go out to travel agents, restaurants, anyone you want, and hyper target that consumer. So when you look at an ROI for any business, identifying, hey, should I do a TV commercial or do, billboard, something like that? Not at all. That's kind of the old throw it against the wall and hope it sticks, where, hey, we want to really have a targeted approach. On the marketing standpoint, at least, that's where we can go and really hyper target. Getting back to the, a little bit more of the AI stuff, it continues to grow. And what we're seeing in 2017, you got Google Home, you've got Alexa, even Apple's version. People are just shouting out, I want this information. Keep in mind, they're actively listening to other conversations that are going on in the house. Okay? It's not just, hey, when I go and say, Google, give me the best, Mexican restaurant in Arizona. They're also hearing any other conversation that you might have with other family members.
I think
that data is actually.
I think your phone just went on. It's listening.
I actually just got an ad from Facebook. No, I'm just kidding.
But it's interesting because in China, WeChat is this big thing. A company called Tencent, but 700 million users, and it's an all-in-one app that it hasn't quite hit the United States yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if Facebook morphs into that, but basically it wraps up every app we use in the United States, from Uber to Amazon to everything, into this thing. So you never leave the app. So the data that they get is astronomical because you never leave the app. So everything you do, every time you text a friend saying you're going to this restaurant, they're collecting that data. It's because it's one app that covers the gamut. Mm-hmm. And it's another stock tip. It's on Pink Sheets, but Tencent.
Tencent.
T-E-N-C-E-N-T. It is going to morph into something that is Amazon, Google, Facebook combined from a value standpoint, because everybody in China uses it. 700 million people. I just went on Alibaba to look for a manufacturer for a new patent I have on paper product. Everything is WeChat, 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 WeChat.
Not to be confused with 50 cent. It's 10 cent.
Right. That's 50 cent.
That's 50 cent. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But really unpacking some of the things that you talked about, Eric, you talk about Facebook, and it's interesting. Earlier this year, I was looking at To Me bags. Next thing you know, I'm on Facebook, and every single ad is about To Me. I mean, it is scary how much they know about you.
Always. Every website you go to, there's going to be a banner.
Yep.
That connected you from something you did a week ago.
Right.
Yeah. Not even on Facebook.
No, and that's all about the retargeting of it. So, yeah, absolutely.
It is incredible. And then unpacking another thing that you talked about artificial intelligence, and you talk about Alexa from Amazon. You talk about the Google. You talk about Siri. Mm-hmm. And I've talked about it here on the show. Who else is listening?
Well, that's what, if you talk to these heads of the companies of Facebook and everything, they turn their mics off and put a little piece of tape over their camera because they know that even they can be spied on at home, and people do that.
Yep.
It really is incredible where we've come just so fast. And these next 5 years, I think we're going to see so much innovation, much more than we've seen in the last 50. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is going to happen. Each year is going to happen by the month.
Yeah, I would agree. I also see, these things happening, but it's what consumers are asking for. They want more discounts. I want, I don't want to be, if I like Nike, I don't mind getting more information from Nike. Notifications as I'm walking by the Nike store. Hey, come in, Eric Olsen, for, an extra 10% off today.
And it's interesting because people were upset about privacy, but it's starting to become, well, I can't fight that, so it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got that, it's a Square 4 app. Mm-hmm. And every time I go by somebody, I get served up something.
Yeah.
And it tells me, what dish I should be trying at a restaurant or what's on sale. Mm-hmm. I mean, who's watching me?
Everybody.
Yeah, it's the world we're in.
Everybody. Well, we're going to say
Hunger Games.
We're going to say so long to Eric. Eric Olsen, you've got a great show. Plug it one more time.
It's Digital Pros Monday at noon. Thank you, Bob.
And he's got a great company called Fast Turtle. And how do you get to it?
FastTurtle.com. FastTurtle.com.
Okay. Eric, it's been great having you here on the show, and David's going to stick around for the next 3 segments. We're 1 segment down. We will be right back. You're listening to Health Futures.
Whether you're a millennial or a boomer, everyone needs to be paying attention to their finances and planning for retirement. Enter Matthew Harrison, the Millennial Money Guy. Matthew is a financial advisor and accredited investment fiduciary with Golden West Financial, and that means he has you and your money's best interest at heart. He understands the important role a financial advisor plays in helping young individuals, families, and businesses achieve their life goals. Working with you as your professional partner, Matthew will help provide financial solutions as you progress through your career and on into retirement. It's that kind of one-on-one attention that's going to help create your financial plan, a personal roadmap that could serve as a guideline to help solve financial concerns and achieve financial freedom. To truly understand your current financial situation, call Matthew Harrison of Golden West Financial today, 480-699-3612, or visit gwestfinancial.com for a complimentary consultation and to start your roadmap to financial security.
The Best After 50 Expo in the West Valley is coming soon. Love in Life After 50 presents the 29th Annual Sun City Love in Life After 50 Expo. Over 70 exhibitors will be featured in a fun and informational day Tuesday, January 10th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Sundial Recreation Center. If you're over 50, this is the premier event you don't want to miss. The day's events and parking are free and include entertainment by the popular Rich Howard Orchestra. The Ms. Senior Arizona Ladies will greet you at the door. Hourly drawings will be held for door prizes, including $100 cash at 10, 11, and noon. Come see what new products and services are available for seniors in the West Valley. Bring your friends and family. January 10th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Sundial Recreation Center. Sponsors include Area Agency on Aging, Captel, Valley Radiologists, The Grand Season, and Comfort Keepers. For more information, go to SeniorExpos.com. That's SeniorExpos.com.
Get ShopVac's most powerful, feature-packed 14-gallon wet dry vac now at an amazing low price of only $149. For a limited time only, available only at Lowe's.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and I have got Dr. David Bailie here in the studio. If you missed the first segment, we had a one-segment visit by Eric Olsen. He is the president and CEO and founder of Fast Turtle Interactive, and he has a show here on Wednesdays at noon called Digital Pros. So, David.
Sir,
you were here almost a year ago. You were here a couple months ago. I love having you here on the show. But I will tell you, we're coming up on a 1-year anniversary of ASICS. And if you missed the first segment, ASICS is the company that he owns. It's called Arizona Institute for Sports, Knees, and Shoulders. And if you need to find them, they're ASICS, AZISKS.com. So tell me what you've learned in the 1 year. I mean, you got 1 year anniversary.
Yeah.
This is your baby. You gave birth to this thing. This is something you thought about for a long time.
Yeah, I bucked the system. Healthcare is changing rapidly. Obviously, you're in the biz. But to try to compete with some of these very confrontational insurance carriers, a lot of primary docs are getting bought up by hospital systems, and specialty docs are merging to form bigger groups, basically to try to be able to negotiate better. And I kind of took the opposite road and said, I don't want to negotiate with insurance carriers so I could see more people. I want to be able to take care of people the way they're supposed to be taken care of, and you cannot really do that with some of the rules that come with your insurance contracts. And, healthcare is it's a bad love triangle. There's a contract between you and your health insurance company.
Yep.
And there's a separate contract with me and any insurance carrier I contract with, and they don't mesh. And technically, I'm not allowed to see what's in your contract. And you're not allowed to know what's in my contract. One of the stipulations in the insurance contracts are that you can't discuss anything that's in here with anybody, including your patients. So you have these two separate entities that don't really help each other out yet, and that inhibits your ability to take care of your patients. So I went the other way and said, if I can't do this the way it should be done, the way healthcare should be done, then I'll find another business to be in, despite the fact that I've devoted my life to orthopedic surgery. I just couldn't do it the way it was being done.
So here it is, 12 months later. I mean, I know why you did this, and we've talked about it here on the show. Has it been everything that you thought it would be? And I want to phrase this a certain way, in the sense that most doctors aren't good business people, and they need to be part of a physician group, or they need to be part of an ACO. They need to be part of be a hospitalist, because they can't do the back office stuff. You're an incredible doctor, and I know that because you're mine. But you also work on a lot of great people here in our community. But I'd like to get just your take on what it's like to be a business person now, operating your own entity.
Well, I mean, I have a kind of a business acumen and entrepreneurial spirit. I've developed products. I'm involved with a lot of kind of non-medical related businesses and ventures and things. But it's been a great experience. I think it's been a little bit more work. If you ask my wife, she will tell you that I've spent a lot of time doing extra stuff. But being a bit of a perfectionist, being an orthopedic surgeon, my brain is trained to be a perfectionist and in control of everything, and that does not change when you start a business. So yes, I delegate some stuff, but the fact is it's mine. My business, I own 100% responsibility, and I just don't believe, just like I would never accept a problem with a patient or a bad outcome or anything like that, and luckily we don't get them. I would just saying, well, that's the way it goes, and starting over doesn't work for me. So being a little bit of a control freak with it is taking up some extra time, but it's worked out great. I mean, I just had a phenomenal year.
Well, and the extra stuff that you do is really for outcome based for your clients. I mean, your patients. I mean, you're continuously improving your operation to serve your clients, your patients better.
Always. I mean, we listen to our patients.
At the end of the day.
One patient complaint, every business has the one person who's going to complain about everything, but we still listen to them, and we change what we do based on even that one person's comments. If it's there's always some validity to it in some respects, because if you're doing everything perfectly, nobody's unhappy.
Right. So
you have to listen to that, and you say, okay, could we tweak that a little better? We may not do exactly what they want, but maybe we can tweak it a little better. And, I have a small staff. Everybody's accessible. My patients know them all by their first name. It's just a better experience, I think.
To dovetail into our first segment, we talked about innovations and we talked about artificial intelligence. What are you seeing on the medical side? I mean, we talked about websites and following you.
Well, in medicine, there's a lot of there's a lot of innovation all the time. The problem becomes the cost of healthcare has risen so fast, and it's really not the cost of healthcare, except for on the pharma side. It's the cost of insurance, and because of what's happening in healthcare. And cost containment reasons, there's a lot of technology that, for instance, is available in Europe in medicine that just won't make it into the United States anytime soon. So it's somewhat discouraging in that sense. It's still going on, but at a much slower pace than it used to be because of the regulatory process. And, with technology comes cost.
And through your trade publications, your subscriptions and stuff, you see a lot of the stuff that's being innovated outside of our country. So,
yeah.
You're probably chomping on the bit.
I've also been involved with some of it because I developed a product in Switzerland. So I was going to Europe 2-3 times a year and seeing some of the things they were doing years ago, and it just never made it over to the United States. For instance, we just got a new technology in the United States. It's been over in Europe for quite some time for cartilage transplantation, and it just wasn't. It's been around for a while, but the FDA wouldn't approve it, and it's become a real nuisance from technology standpoint.
So I want to talk more about it in our next segment, but obviously we've had a lot of change happen recently, and come January 20th, we're going to have an administration change in Washington. Do you foresee in this new administration some of the stuff easing up? The ability to maybe get some of that technology stuff, those innovations that are being done in Europe and Asia and other places here in our country?
Yes and no. I think eventually it's going to get the ball rolling. But to unwind the ACA Obamacare, one thing they did, which I learned actually today from Governor Ducey's healthcare policy advisor, was that they took all of the public health entities' actions, like in infant vaccines and epidemiology things, looking at certain diseases in certain states and areas, all these things that were public health, important in public health, they wrapped them into Obamacare so that if you defund Obamacare or try to unravel it, all those go away and you have to pull them each out and pass new bills for each one of those. Well, these were things that every state's been doing for decades and very important for the public. So it's going to be very difficult. So over time, yes, I think get the ball rolling again and get people to try to be innovative without just worrying about simply cost. It all works itself out if you have the right motive, but to just focus on cost pulls everything out of the ability to advance technology, and you need it in medicine.
No, you definitely do, and it's interesting. You bring up the Affordable Care Act. I saw just a couple of days ago enrollment is at the highest level ever this year. And I think part of it is that people know there's about to be change.
That and the cost of, I have group insurance in my plan, and if you're an individual, you have to go to the exchange now because you can't get personal insurance. And if you don't have if you're a small employer and you don't have group insurance, but that got expensive, and so people are just going to the exchanges simply for cost.
And it did get expensive. As a small business, I mean, we saw a 30+ percent increase, and I think across the board, most small businesses saw that in their healthcare plans. I will say this, and I don't think I'll get any disagreement from you, is that we have more people in healthcare than we've ever had in the past. And the cool thing, too, of having kids is that we're able to have our kids on until they're 26 years old.
No question. That in pre-existing conditions.
Conditions.
But the fact of the matter is, health insurance, as I was saying to somebody today, you can't control healthcare costs if you have publicly traded companies in the insurance industry. Their fiduciary responsibilities to their shareholders, not to the patient. And there's no way you're going to ever fix healthcare as long as the federal government allows insurance companies to be publicly traded. Can't do it.
It's that simple. And you're right. I mean, publicly traded companies are, their mission is to build shareholder value. And
that's their obligation.
Yes, that is their obligation. We're up against a break. You're listening to Health Futures. I got Dr. David Bailie in the studio. It's halftime here at Health Futures. We'll be right back.
As we reach the bottom of the hour, we pause for a look at the world's news. Then we're back with Money Talk. We're Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
The FBI and Homeland Security have issued a warning that ISIS is asking sympathizers to instigate violence in the U.S. over the holidays. Correspondent Evan Perez.
This is in light of a posting that was made on some pro-ISIS websites in the last couple of days, calling on supporters to attack churches and holiday gatherings in the United States. It included a list of U.S. churches around the country. And so this is a warning that the FBI has now issued.
There are no known specific credible threats. The truck driver who plowed into a crowded Christmas market in Berlin, Germany, has died in a shootout with police today in Milan, Italy. Correspondent Barbie Nadeau reports investigators are determining whether anyone else was involved in the plot.
The fact, though, that he was traveling alone on a public train in a big city, Milan is a big city, would undermine this idea that there's some hidden terrorist network that he's involved with, in the sense that he wasn't protected. He was out in the open.
On Wall Street, the Dow down 4. I'm Ann Cates.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-218-5649. That's 1-800-218-5649. 1-800-218-5649. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
For a happier life, remember, it's your money. Be smart with it. And listening every day to Money Radio will cause your money IQ to go up, way up.
If you're like most Money Radio listeners, you get a little busy sometimes, meaning you can't always hear your favorite shows. Now you can tune in anytime to one of the best retirement shows on the radio, Mastering Money, with wealth manager Steve Jurich and the doctor, Sinclair No. Heard weekdays at 8 a.m. live or at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or noon. It's really up to you. Download the Mastering Money app for your Apple or Android device or click on the podcast at masteringmoneyradio.com. See you there.
Laura Bramnick is a real estate agent and a real estate attorney. Laura Bramnick knows that a good attorney safeguards her clients and their well-being. Each decision or direction she and her clients make together is with one purpose, the most effective resolution, for now and for the future. For more information, visit talkrealestateaz.com or call 480-624-2705, 480-624-2705. To talk with Laura, call 480-624-2705.
It's your last chance for the best deals of the season during the final days of the Ford year-end event. Just announced, get $1,500 cash, which includes $500 final days cash, plus $1,000 Ford Smart bonus cash on select models. Or check out special year-end lease deals across the entire lineup of Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, including Ford Fusion, Explorer, and the Built Ford Tough F-150. These are the best deals of the season for a new Ford, America's best-selling brand. Hurry, it's the final days of the Ford year-end event. Your last chance to get $1,500 cash, which includes $500 final days cash, plus $1,000 Ford Smart bonus cash on select models. Ends January 3rd. Supply of vehicles with Ford Smart bonus is limited. Not available on Focus RS, Shelby GT 350, Ford GT, F-150 Raptor, F-650, or 750. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com to find specially tagged vehicles and for qualifications and complete details. For all offers, taking retail delivery from dealer stock by 1/3/2017. Sales claim based on 2015 calendar year sales.
Give yourself a new kitchen this holiday season with Caesarstone quartz countertops. Caesarstone, the look of natural stone, yet resistant to cracks, stains, scratches, and heat. Find your local Caesarstone dealer at CaesarstoneUS.com.
I'm Bruce Vail with Your Money Now. China has hit General Motors with a $29 million fine for alleged monopolistic pricing behavior. Chinese regulators claim a GM joint venture in China reached a monopoly agreement with dealers, setting a floor on car prices. GM shares are unchanged at this hour at $35.69. The Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba said it would establish an advisory board of brands and trade associations to help protect intellectual property and stamp out sellers of counterfeit goods. The move follows a decision by the U.S. Trade Representative this week to put Alibaba back on a register of physical and online markets it says are notorious for selling fakes. Alibaba's U.S. traded shares are up a fraction. The broader market is mixed, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average down a fraction. The NASDAQ Composite is now ahead almost 7 points. That's Your Money Now.
Honey, I'm really worried about our retirement funds.
Oh, me too. We lost so much value in the recession in the stock market. I'm worried we won't have enough to retire.
Jim next door told me that he had set up a new kind of IRA with the Gold Silver Group. He said how simple and safe it was. It's a private storage IRA, and we could have real gold and silver in our hands.
Really? You mean we can actually see it and touch it?
Absolutely. Jim said we could have all the benefits of an IRA to help build our retirement income. Bottom line, we would own a real tangible asset, and we would have the security of knowing we're protected no matter what the economy does. What do you think?
I think we need to find out how to get our own private storage IRA. We need to call the Gold Silver Group right now.
Are you ready to protect your future? Call 800-554-8437 now to find out how easy and safe it is to set up a private storage IRA with Gold Silver Group. Get up to $995 in free silver on all qualified transactions. Ask how. All transactions have no startup fee, are privately delivered and fully insured. Please call us now. 800-554-8437. 800-554-8437.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. Thank you, James, for Little Doors bringing us in for our third segment.
Great song.
If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Health Futures. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and I've got Dr. David Bailie here in the studio. We knocked down 2 segments, and on the third one, we picked up a hitchhiker.
A freeloader.
A freeloader. We've got the owner, the president, the mastermind behind Money Radio, 1510 AM, 99.3 FM. Welcome to the show, Ron Cohen.
Hey, it's great to be here, Bob. Good to see you again, Dave.
You too, you too.
And I got to tell you, your engineer James brought us in the very first segment with some Christmas music, and we had a little Adam Sandler introducing us. And I brought up a great fact that a lot of people don't know, is that only 8 times since 1900 has Christmas Eve been the same as the first night of Hanukkah. So
it allows us to say, like, Merry Christmaska.
That's right, Merry Christmaka.
Right. Or Hanumas, depending on where your priorities are.
Well, when we broke on our second segment, we were talking about health care. And, David, you brought up a fact that is so critical when you analyze the Affordable Care Act, is that Affordable Care Act was destined for failure because it included health care companies that are publicly traded, and they got a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders. And it's not about saving money for us as consumers. It's about bringing the best value to their shareholders. And here we are, we're griping that their CEOs and presidents are making $30, $40, $60 million a year.
They're supposed to.
That's right. And in a free enterprise, capital market, that's what they're supposed to do.
They should. You can't be upset with them. They're doing their job. You just have to have some kind of legislation that says that because of health care and the problems we're having, that you can't have publicly traded healthcare companies. Make them mutual companies if you want to keep it the way it is, where the excess, instead of going to the shareholders, goes back to the policyholders in form of a dividend. Then you may get your whole premium back if everybody, and then you can shop around too, so it keeps the free market going. It's like mutual life insurance.
So, David, why won't they do that?
Well, the lobbies, and maybe with the new administration, but it's got to be at a federal level. I was telling Bob earlier, I met with Governor Ducey's healthcare policy advisor, and so much is federal, and there's no way to do it on a state level, so you'd have to federally mandate that it's a conflict of interest, disband insurance carriers the way they are now, which I'm sure would be quite complex and difficult, and probably I don't even know if you could do it. I don't know the rules and regulatory process, but to do that, can you imagine? These are huge publicly traded companies. How do you unwind them, turn them private, and then shut them down?
I can't remember the last time I was excited and then depressed all in about 2 minutes.
I know. It's a great idea. Just I don't know how you would do it.
Well, you start with a governor like Governor Doug Ducey. I mean, you work with their healthcare advisors like you have, and I think it's great that you're a party to that. Are you working regularly with the administration?
Not regularly. I have approached Governor Ducey a couple times on a few things. What we were kind of discussing today was tort reform. Arizona's in the bottom 5 states in the country, and in kind of an environment for medical malpractice. Despite us being a fairly conservative state, we are malpractice insurance here, for instance, is 3 to 4 times what it costs the same physicians in California.
Wow.
And
California is always more expensive than us.
Except for this, because they've tried to pass some legislation. Everything's constitutional, so it takes ballot initiatives to change things. And they've been so broad-based, they get shut down. And so we talked about how to focus this to make it palatable, to make sure patients get what they need and allow physicians to stop practicing defensive medicine, which I can tell you is a real thing, because 80-90% of the MRIs I order, I don't need.
Right. And it's interesting you say that about malpractice insurance. And I'm dating myself because I go back over 30 years. I remember playing golf with a guy who was a neurosurgeon back in Baltimore, and he made the statement that he doesn't start making money till after June 1st. Because the first 6 months is to pay for the malpractice insurance that he's got to lay out every year.
And it's not risk-based. I just transferred my insurance from a carrier because when I left my large group, there was a discount attached to my malpractice strictly based on the large group that I was in, no matter how many claims they had as a group or other partners or whatever. And I've never had a claim, yet my rates doubled. So I found another company that it actually is cheaper, but it doesn't make any sense. The underwriting process doesn't make sense.
It's the same. Absolutely. Ron, you're joining us into our third segment. One of the things that we kicked off the show with, we had the host for Digital Pros, Eric Olsen, on the first segment, and we were talking about innovations, and we were talking about technology. We were talking about predictive analytics. We were talking about AI, artificial intelligence. I'd love to hear what you are seeing in your space relative to technological advances, because radio has really changed. You've been at it for close to 30 years now, right?
28 years, yes. And it's changed, and it's changed for the better for a niche broadcaster like KFNN Money Radio, because 20 years ago, it used to be all about signal strength of the terrestrial radio station, what you could actually hear on 1510. And so now audio content is everywhere. And radio is a leader in providing audio content to all of the different mobile and web-based outlets. So, we've been promoting and using, and we have listeners that listen to us on their mobile app. Streaming, we've been streaming online for 20 years, one of the first stations in the country to stream. And all of that is just the same, it creates a level playing field. Whereas in the terrestrial world, when you listen to a particular radio station, that station's coverage is going to be affected by what it's licensed for, atmospheric conditions, and a number of other factors. So for a smaller broadcaster, that provides this format on a worldwide platform that other people can listen to.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I remember as a kid in Indianapolis, we would pick up Chicago radio stations when there were certain weather patterns, and you could get WGN or one of those, but only with certain weather patterns. That's a long way away.
Radio, rainy days are great for radio. Of course, why am I here in the desert? It still works well in the desert, but the saturated ground provides a greater conductivity for the electricity at the antenna site, and it actually does better.
It's interesting you say that, because I used to summer up in New England, and at nighttime I used to listen to Baltimore Oriole games out of Baltimore. I couldn't get those stations during the day, but I could get them during the night. And we would listen to the games. But the cool thing is where we're at today, and you talk about the interactive web that is out there, and you can listen to this show digitally, whether it be on your computer, whether it be on your phone. And the other thing is that I get the opportunity for guests like Dr. Bailie. I get to package this for him so he can repurpose it and share it social media. So they may not hear it live, but so many people are hearing your broadcasts, your shows that are, podcasts that are packaged in different formats.
And it's quick, because, at the end of the show, you'll give me an MP4 and I'll put it on my social media, and anybody who deals with me, who goes to my website or my social media, will be able to do it right then. It doesn't take a week.
Well, having audio on demand is really a trend in the future. We're certainly on the forefront of the podcast world for that. But you bring up another point, David, that marketers, as a business, we're in the advertising, we're marketing, and so many marketers seek other ways to demonstrate their expertise and showcase their company and their products rather than just promoting it in a traditional 30 or 60-second increment. So to be able to create impressive content for certain types of categories, the physicians categories, consultants, attorneys, a number of categories where their marketing objective is more accomplished by educating the listener and demonstrating their expertise and maybe demonstrating techniques or innovations in their industry. We stand, that's one of the things we do, that we allow that, provide that content for our clients, and it's been one of the things that's kept us here for 28 years.
Well, and you have to be on that leading edge, otherwise you're going to be obsolete. You're going to be irrelevant. In your profession, in my profession, you've really got to be plugged into what is the latest and greatest that's going on out there. It's hard to believe we're down our third segment, David. Going out with Coldplay. Got to love it.
Tunes are awesome today.
Tunes are awesome. Way to go, James. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. I got the owner of Money Radio 1510 AM, 99.3 FM in the studio, and I got Dr. David Bailie from ASICS. We will be right back.
High returns on your investments? Who wouldn't want that? This is Sinclair No, with a strategy that could increase your overall return on your investment portfolio. It's called Decadian. The Decadian investment methodology encompasses a 10-year goal for financial freedom, plus something that's really missing today, straight talk, so you know you have a financial advisor you can trust. Great investment recommendations that far exceed what your institutional markets offer. All this wrapped with performance guarantees. Only those who know what they can do will guarantee what they can do. Decadian. Decadian.com. Decadian. That's Decadian.com. Call 844-332-2342. 844-332-2342. Here for you when you need it most. Decadian.
It's your last chance for the best deals of the season during the final days of the Ford year-end event. Just announced, get $1,500 cash, which includes $500 final days cash, plus $1,000 Ford Smart bonus cash on select models. Or check out special year-end lease deals across the entire lineup of Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, including Ford Fusion, Explorer, and the Built Ford Tough F-150. These are the best deals of the season for a new Ford, America's best-selling brand. Hurry, it's the final days of the Ford year-end event. Your last chance to get $1,500 cash, which includes $500 final days cash, plus $1,000 Ford Smart bonus cash on select models. Ends January 3rd. Supply of vehicles with Ford Smart bonus is limited. Not available on Focus RS, Shelby GT 350, Ford GT, F-150 Raptor, F-650, or 750. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com to find specially tagged vehicles and for qualifications and complete details. For all offers, taking retail delivery from dealer stock by 1/3/2017. Sales claim based on 2015 calendar year sales.
Hi, this is Jay Barber with VIP Mortgage. Just wanted to reach out to you guys today and wish you a happy holidays. Happy New Year from the VIP family.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and we're on our fourth segment. If you're just tuning in, I got Dr. David Bailie here in the studio from ASICS, and I got Ron Cohen, the president and owner of Money Radio 1510 AM, 99.3 FM. I want to just give a big plug for our show next week, next Friday, the last show of the year. The last Friday of the year, I've got Dr. Marwan Sabah going to be in the studio. He's going to be in the studio with the folks from Belmont Village and the Valley of the Sun JCC. They got a couple of events coming up in January 6th and January 13th. Make sure you tune in. So David and Ron, we're at the end of 2016, and 2016, a lot of people are saying it's been a bad year. I don't think it's been a bad year. It's been a learning year. I mean, we're all about experiences. And I know you've had a great experience running your own show for the last year, and you shared that with us in the second segment, some of the key learnings that you've had. And, look, at Cypress HomeCare Solutions, we had certain challenges, but we overcame, and we've persevered, and we're really, really primed and poised for an incredible 2017. And Ron Cohen, 2016 has been a learning year for you.
Yeah, it has. And, it's interesting. Every business has ups and downs. And knowing all three of us and how far we've gone back for years and years, a couple decades, each of us have children that are all 20-somethings or millennials, and they're just starting out in their careers. And so it's interesting to see the early successes that all of our kids are having. And at the same time, I just was, guiding one of our children, and helping him manage the lows, because life is not always full of highs. It's full of lows. Businesses have good days and bad days. Our lives have good days and bad days. And you mentioned this, and it really rings home for me, particularly since you have to guide your children that way as well, that it's great that they're on good footing in their careers and there's optimism in what they're going to do. But there's going to be some days that are bad days. And
what's interesting, though, is they actually listen to us now.
I don't know. My kids guide me.
They guide your checkbook and your pocketbook. That's what they do. But no, seriously, Ron and I have children. They're just a notch older than yours, David. And, I have a young professional that's been in the broadcast journalism world now for a little more than 2 years. You have got a son that's been out there in the workforce for 3?
I got 3, and then another one for a couple years now.
And it's interesting how, they call me now. She calls me now and asks me for professional advice. And she actually listens to me. And I'm like, okay, this is how I would handle this, and she respects the things I say, where before I would be talking, I'm not sure she was listening.
Well, they have to figure it out themselves. You can throw advice out there, but there comes a time. I noticed this with our son who's graduating from the great University of Michigan.
I knew you were going to say that.
Sorry,
go Greed.
And to watch him kind of his thinking change. They always listened and internalized a little bit, but it's actually interesting. They really are absorbing a lot in the last year, their senior year in college, and knowing that the world's coming at them, and they absorb a lot. And all of a sudden, their maturity level changes, and what they want to do changes for recreation, and what they want to do for. Everything changes. So actually, I wasn't joking when I said my kids counsel me and advise me, because sometimes you need to go take a step back and look at it from a naive perspective to make sense of things.
And a young person's perspective, because let's face it, we may look good, but we're getting old.
And your mind gets a little, you get biased and polluted mentally as you age. You have more knowledge, but also more experiences and things. You don't look at it from a black and white standpoint. Sometimes it's better to see things black and white. Oh, okay. 'Cause, like a little child, they're all happy. They get their lollipop. That's all they care about. You could have a nuclear explosion. As long as they have a lollipop, they're happy.
Right.
And there's some benefit to having that black and white outlook on things.
Right. There's not the static that goes along with it.
Right.
But what's interesting? The guys that follow my show, they're millennials. And, the millennials are an interesting population group. And, now we have Gen Zs. And I'm going to tell you, I heard it said the other day about these Gen Zs that there is still so much hope for us. And us as a people, because many of these people actually are very similar. These kids that are coming up are very similar to those post-Depression kids, because they saw what happened to the downturn of the economy, and they saw that what had happened to a lot of their friends or maybe happened to their families, and they persevered. So, it really is looking very bright and optimistic for our future. And I know the millennials get a lot of how should I put it? They get a lot of disrespect. But
as long as we can unwind the 20-something trillion in debt, which the post-Depression era people never had, this is where being optimistic is important, but you also have to be methodical about how you approach things, because the world is a new place, and what we're experiencing now has never been experienced by any society in the history of mankind. and there's no precedent. And so as long as this generation continues to contribute and you can unwind some of these problems very carefully, everything turns out well, of course. The resilience of human nature is always good.
It is, indeed. So as we wind down this last segment, things on the list for you in 2017, what do you got planned, business-wise? Well, how are things shaping up for you, David?
Well, we took a different approach. Like I said before, we're doing everything, not everything, but a lot of things out of network, which patients are really learning that they're paying a lot of deductibles and all of these things anyway. By being out of network, if you have out of network benefits, you can get the care you need, and it actually can cost you less. But you have to have providers and facilities that know how it works, because it's very convoluted. And we've had great success this year because I dropped most health plans. Yet a lot of those people still I'm seeing, and they can see me and not pay anything, no deductible, no copays, anything. And it's a process, but it's allowing patients to get the freedom they deserve to get the care they want and need without an insurance person randomly denying everything.
And it's an education process. I mean, it's new.
It's new. There have been some people in concierge primary care doing it, but when it comes to specialty care, in the East Coast, it's been very common. I know orthopedic surgeons who have been off all insurance plans for 30 years. They've done it well, and it's become acceptable. And patients love it because they get the care they need.
How about you, Ron? We got about a minute, I don't know if you can package it all in a minute, but what do you got planned for 2017?
It's been a very exciting time, Bob, as you know, and we've got some things we have to really announce to the listeners, but we're expanding a little bit further here in the Phoenix market. CRC Broadcasting, my company of 28 years, is comprised of KFNN 1510 here in the market of Phoenix. We have 2 radio stations in Palm Springs, a Money Radio 1200 there, and a Heritage Sports Station, Team 1010. So we're going to kind of complete the cycle with a new station here that we're going to be debuting hopefully by February 1. We're calling it The Fanatic. It's going to be on 1580. It'll also be simulcast on a couple of FMs. It's going to be a big signal. We talked about that. It'll be 50,000 watt statewide signal. We've got a lot of great things planned, a lot of good things for the market. It's very exciting. And look, a lot of our Money Radio listeners are also sports fans. Who's not?
Who's not?
So, we think it's a great combination, just like we're doing in Palm Springs, to finally have a sports station here in town to compete in the marketplace.
Fantastic. Well, all the best to both of you guys in 2017. Thank you very much for being on the show, Ron. Thank you, Dave. David, make it a great day. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Friday.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress HomeCare Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit CypressHomeCare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
Join certified financial planner Nancy Fleming this and every Wednesday afternoon as she joins me for Financial Review. Nancy and I discuss